Dreaming of taking a vacation or completing a home reno? We've got some savvy saving tips that will help you reach your financial goals that much faster.
Plus, to save even more money, we'll show you the top 5 things you can do to save on costly car repairs.
Plus, most of us don't think twice when we're whipping out that credit card to buy things, but do you know how much that plastic is costing you?
Has this ever happened to you? You make it off the plane, but your bags don't.
We're on a crusade to make sure you're not left empty-handed the next time your bags are missing in action.
Your flight finally lands and you're tired. You just want to grab your bag and get going. Problem is, your suitcase is nowhere in sight.
On my way home, I stood and waited and waited. Everyone else got their bag, and my bag didn't show up.
Right now, our bags are on a flight that we got bumped off of.
I lost all my luggage and I never got it back.
A whopping 42 million bags get lost worldwide every year. So what's the suitable thing to do when your suitcase never arrives? Katie and Sandra are on a crusade to find out. Sandra is calling around to different airlines.
What is your policy if I were to have a missing bag on one of your flights?
Well, we do everything that we can to find it. The bag is missing till 5th day, so the passenger has to fill a baggage declaration form. If it is unsuccessful, we send it off to what we call Central Baggage Services.
Since missing baggage is one of the airline's top 3 consumer complaints, our Lost Luggage Crusade takes Katie to the airport and Sandra in search of some down-to-earth advice from travel expert Claire Newell.
What's the first thing you should do when you realize that your bag is missing?
Don't leave the airport. That is my first piece of advice. Make sure that you go to the claims desk right away. Actually, if you leave the airport, you may not be compensated.
Whether your bag is missing for hours or forever, we'll tell you how to get the most from your airline later in the show. For most people, cars are the second biggest purchase they'll make next to their home, and the costs don't end once you drive it off the lot. Car repairs alone can take a big bite out of your budget, but there are things you can do to keep your vehicle on the road and your bucks in the bank. With 6 kids in tow, Teresa's new minivan gets a workout. She has spent thousands on car repairs over the years, and she's hoping this vehicle will last, but she has no idea how to make that happen.
I know it needs an oil change because the little idiot light on my dashboard has come on and said, go change your oil.
When it comes to cars, a little TLC can go a long way. In fact, one mechanical study showed that every dollar you spend to maintain your vehicle can save $6 in repairs. Angela and Robin want to get Teresa up to speed.
How often were you taking it in to get checkups or maintenance?
Okay, not very often.
So we're heading to a shop to learn the top 5 essentials for maintaining a vehicle, starting with number 1, fluids.
So the first thing that's really important about a vehicle is all of the fluids.
Including coolant, brake fluid, transmission fluid, and engine oil.
Those fluids all go from helping to hurting your car.
So make sure you have your mechanic check them regularly. The engine oil you can check yourself at least once a month. Then, every 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers, have the oil and oil filter changed at a cost of about $40. If you're inclined to change the oil yourself, you can save about half. You can search for instructional videos on the internet. And if you use the more expensive synthetic oil instead of conventional, you can save in the long run, going 8,000 to 12,000 kilometers between changes. But make sure you follow your owner's manual because you can void your warranty if you use the wrong products.
Now, if we don't do this, what can it end up costing us?
Well, if Teresa was to run really low on her oil, engine like this, probably about $4,000.
You'll also do your car engine a big favor by regularly giving it a tune-up. Tip number 2.
Tune-ups are really, really important, especially changing filters.
A clean air filter can save you 10% in fuel costs. Budget about $200 for a tune-up and have it done at least once a year. You can save 5 to 10% overall if you bundle your tune-up with an oil change. Number 3, brakes. You'll need new brakes about every 2 to 4 years, but you want to get them checked annually for about $45. Because if something goes wrong in the meantime, it could end up costing you an extra $200 to $400, not to mention safety. Where the rubber meets the road is number 4 on our list, tires. Expect to replace your tires every 80 to 130,000 kilometers, but by rotating them yearly, you can even out the wear and tear and extend their life. Rotating your tires will cost about $45, but you can get this done for free if your car is already in for brakes. And your tires can wear out much faster than normal if your suspension is out, so that's auto essential number 5.
I don't know if you've ever seen a car come down the highway that's sort of going like this.
Yeah. Your car's suspension can have a big impact on the general handling and comfort of your vehicle. Cost to get it checked out? Approximately $30. So your yearly maintenance should include 2 oil changes, $80, tune-up, $200, brake check, $45, tire rotation, $45, and suspension check, $30, for a tally of $400. Fail to make those checks and it could cost you thousands of dollars in repairs. For Teresa, it's an investment not only in her car, but also in herself.
You know what? I feel empowered. You know, I can lift up my hood, I can check my oil. It's not this big scary thing now.
You've heard it before, but slow and steady really does win the race. If you drive slower, you can save up to 12% on your gas bill.
You also don't want to brake or accelerate too quickly. It's just wasting more fuel you paid good money for.
Forget paying extra money for expensive, high-octane fuel. If your car is like 90% of vehicles, it's designed to run on regular gas. So check your owner's manual.
To make that gas go even further, make sure all of your tires are properly inflated. Keeping a $3 gauge handy can save you more than $100 a year in extra fuel costs. Still to come, putting an ending to careless spending.
If I got it in the bank, or I've got it in my wallet, it's gone.
By paving the road to saving. And in our continuing Cookie Crusade, bucks for baggage. How much can you expect if your airline loses your luggage? Whoa. Then we'll show you how cashless convenience can lead to a credit card crunch. And do you know when you'll get the best bargains on big city hotels? We'll tell you right after the break. When will you get the best bargains on big city hotels? Friday and Saturday nights for hotels in the business district because they have fewer guests over the weekend. About 1 in every 100 airline passengers has the nasty experience of losing their luggage.
Actually, I've had it twice.
So we're on a crusade to find out what to do when you arrive at your destination, but your baggage doesn't.
So what was it like dealing with the airline?
Well, we stood in line up for a very long time.
It was really frustrating to have no help from the airlines.
You know, they say sorry, but that's it.
But according to this travel expert, the airlines will help you. You just have to ask.
Even if your bag is lost just for a short period of time, the airlines actually do compensate you, and usually they'll give you some sort of petty cash, especially for things like toiletries. So ask the airline what it can do for you.
This short-term compensation often only applies if you've reached your destination and not if you've just returned home.
They said if it didn't arrive within 48 hours that we would have to submit a claim with receipts. So it wasn't sort of a, ballpark amount. You had to document what you spent.
And when it comes to documentation, be sure to keep your ticket stubs, baggage claims, and all correspondence until the airline has resolved your case or found your luggage.
But unfortunately, in some cases, it could be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on where that bag has ended up.
Would the airline compensate me at all if somebody took my bag?
No, if they got it to the destination and someone took your bag, that's where you think of retiring the black luggage and maybe getting yourself a polka dot piece of luggage or a bubblegum pink like mine.
But no matter the color, sometimes a bag goes missing forever.
Just never was found.
And what are you going to do if your bags don't show up?
I'll be buying some more clothes, and somebody will be paying for them.
But they won't pay for everything.
Will the airline compensate you dollar for dollar of the value of things that are in your suitcase?
No, you will always end up with a shortfall. When it comes to the US, $3,300 is the limit. If you're traveling in Canada, $1,500, and internationally, it's sitting at around $1,450, and that's it.
And there are some items airlines won't compensate you for at all. We'll tell you what those are and what you should do about them a little later on. Most people spend what they want, then put away whatever's left over. But the key to successful saving is to put money aside first, then spend. So how much is enough when it comes to savings? And what's the best way to get started? We've got some simple steps that everyone can bank on. Lydia and John are in a new long-term relationship, but blending their families may be easier than blending their very different approaches to money.
I buy what's necessary, try to put the rest of it away.
If I got it in the bank, where I've got it in my wallet, it's gone.
So Robin and Angela are here to help these two save for their future together.
I want to learn that it is possible to have a process to save towards a goal.
Every person is different in terms of how much they can set aside, but general rule is you want to set aside about 10% of what comes in every month.
Some of that should be for retirement, but some could be for shorter-term goals.
New kitchen?
Okay. So if 10% seems overwhelming at this point, we would suggest that you start putting aside a smaller amount to start with. So maybe $50 to $100 every paycheck.
Step 1, have money directly transferred from a checking to a savings account. This way, Lydia and John can build their nest egg pretty painlessly. And step 2, have a specific goal in mind.
What we're saving for is the renovation of the kitchen, and that's going to be a major one, all new appliances.
So Lydia and John know what they want, but what's the first step towards getting it?
What I think would really work is cut some of those pictures of the kitchens you like out, put them on your fridge, put them wherever you'll see them all the time.
Because once you're clear on your goal, it becomes a lot easier to say no to the other things.
Then step 3, do a little number crunching. Search for a savings goal calculator online.
We have an online tool that's free. This one wants you to plug in your savings goal. How much do you think this will cost?
First stages of the renovation, probably I'm looking at about $25,000.
Okay. So this is going to tell you how much you have to save bi-weekly.
To reach your goal to start your kitchen
like
2 years.
$303.79 bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks?
Yep.
Or $607.58 per month between the two of them. And if Lydia and John want to get their renovation done sooner, they just up their savings amount until it fits their timeline.
What does 6 do?
Oh, let's test it out. So $600 bi-weekly would be $1,200 each month.
Yeah, they'd actually be finished in time just for the kids to graduate.
There you go.
Organize your savings by creating a separate high-interest account for each goal. And by setting money aside every paycheck, you can watch your savings grow steadily, giving you even more incentive to keep on saving.
I learned that it's possible for us to save together as a couple.
The free tools that are available are absolutely fabulous.
When deciding how much to save for retirement, first figure out exactly how much money you'll need. A good rule of thumb is 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income in order to maintain your current standard of living.
That money will most likely come from several sources, such as pensions or government grants, but the primary source will typically be your own savings.
Use an online calculator to add what you've saved so far and what your contributions will be going forward. Then adjust the numbers until you've got a retirement plan you're happy with and you can afford. Up next, what your carrier won't cover. We'll tell you what items your airline may refuse to compensate you for should they lose your luggage and what you can do about it. And later, the problem with plastic and how you can get your credit card debt under control. And do you know where to find the best hotel rates? We'll have the answer when we come back. Do you know where to find the best hotel rates? Forget the reservation line. Instead, call the hotel directly. The hotel employees will know of special deals or upgrades that the call center agents won't. Lost luggage can ruin a vacation and turn a business trip into a bust.
It makes me angry and it's frustrating.
Now you want to be compensated for what was in it. According to travel specialist Claire Newell, you could be in for an unpleasant surprise.
The airlines have a laundry list on most of their websites that basically itemizes everything that they won't pay you back for. Things like cell phones or any electronic item, anything that is paper. So if you have photos, money, anything that is an antique, like an antique map, you're not going to be reimbursed for it. Sporting equipment and musical instruments, usually on almost everyone's list.
And since everyone has a different policy, check your airline's website. Then carry on what they don't cover or buy private insurance for what you do pack.
You can get extra baggage insurance typically through a bank, through a travel agency. Your credit card may actually have some coverage as well, so check into that.
If your airline won't compensate you or you're unhappy with the amount they paid, you may be able to claim through your homeowner's insurance. But keep in mind you would have to pay your deductible and it could increase your premiums, so it may not be worth your financial while. But there are things you can do to help prevent your luggage from going AWOL.
The #1 culprit of misdirected baggage is a late check-in, so be sure to get to the airport in plenty of time for your flight.
Before you check your suitcase, tear off old baggage tags or any barcode markers. Always make sure your luggage is properly identified, indicating not just who you are and where you live, but where you're headed. And since tags sometimes get torn off, be sure to put the same information inside your bag.
You also want to remember to take photos of everything in your suitcase. Keep them in a safe place. It'll take you 5 minutes and probably save you thousands of dollars if your suitcase does go missing.
Something I heard consistently today was flights with a tight connection seem to equate to lost baggage. So just know if you're booking a flight where there's a tight connection, you're taking a big risk.
Still to come, packing too much plastic? We'll tell you how to slim down your wallet and cut back on your credit card debt. Plus, do you know the best place to find hotel coupons and special offers? Find out after the break. Where's the best place to find hotel coupons and special offers? On the internet with a general search, or check out the local tourist association or Visitors Bureau website. The biggest convenience of a credit card is it allows you to make purchases even when you're not carrying cash. Problem is, no one likes to think too much about the pitfalls of plastic. So the 5 of us are hitting the streets for a little money 101 on credit cards.
I thought it would be really cool to find out what people know about their cards because I don't think they know as much as they think they do.
I don't think people realize how much the item actually costs when they put it on their credit card and they're paying interest and they're carrying a balance. So I think we might shock a few people today.
Do you know how many credit cards you have in your wallet right now?
I have 1.
3?
Probably have around 5. This is
Whoa! And the more credit cards you have, the more likely you are to get into credit card debt.
So how much do you owe on your credit cards?
I'd say about $6,000. One is definitely $2,000.
What about the other one? What do you think about that one?
It's at least $2,500.
Let's ballpark it at about $4,000.
$7,300.
Yikes.
Indeed.
And do you know the interest rate on those cards?
I imagine it's not great.
Yeah, it's exorbitantly high.
19%.
Which means if you don't pay off your balance every month, the amount you owe can add up fast.
Do you have any idea how much interest you're paying over the year on that $6,000?
I have no idea.
In a year, you're paying approximately $1,100 in interest. What do
So
you
much
think?
money.
You're paying approximately $760 a year on it, just on interest alone.
Oh my gosh.
$150 for your kids.
I
At the
know.
end of the year.
I know.
That credit card company is reaching into your pocket and taking that away from you and your kids.
So each year you're paying $864 if you're carrying a balance.
Sounds disturbing.
But regardless of how you got into credit card debt, the important thing is to get out of it. What might work for you is the cash system, and then you're sticking to a specific amount rather than resorting to your credit card.
So you need a plan to start paying that off, right?
Sure do.
You want to pay the credit card with the highest interest rate first, and then work on the second one. Alternatively, you could amalgamate those 2 credit cards onto a low interest line of credit.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
If you put aside 10 to 20% of your paycheck,
Yeah.
I bet you could get that amount paid off in close to a year.
I probably could.
I want you to call your credit card companies today and ask them to lower your interest rate. I know it sounds crazy, but I have done this with all my credit cards. I used to have credit cards at 18%. I got them bumped down to 11%.
Just by
Just
asking
by
them
calling.
to-
If they say no, you say, I'm a long-term customer, I'm gonna take my business elsewhere if you don't do a lower interest rate.
I had no idea that there was any room to negotiate something.
Hey ladies. Hello. I had a few people who didn't mind that they were paying the $90 a year to the credit card companies.
They didn't really know what their options were when paying their
Yeah.
credit cards off. I think people just assume they have to just continually put down their monthly until it's 0, but
hopefully we've changed a few people's minds about how they think about their credit cards.
Well, I felt pretty good about how good we are with our credit cards, and I think we should celebrate that.
Let's go.